You guys are great.
Well, welcome back to Creative Cards Kickstart. If you don't know, this is our second try at session one. We had a little tech trouble and Zoom kicked us out, so hopefully everything will work now. So if you're watching on the replay because you couldn't get in this morning, I just want to say I'm so sorry. We have unlimited seats, but Zoom is capping it at 100, and so I know some of you are gonna have to watch this replay and hopefully we can figure out before tomorrow what is causing that so that we can get that fixed. But that's why Zoom kicked us out.
And we pay for unlimited, so it's not
Yeah.
at our end, but this comes sometimes, you got to go fix whatever's behind things. So we're
Yeah.
so sorry about that because we just love that you're all here.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things we are doing here with Kickstart is we're trying to help get your creative juices flowing. So we are in a season change. And I was thinking about it even while I was fixing this, like seasons change in a lot of different ways. It could be a job change, going from a job to retirement. It could be changing jobs or going back to school, or even just the changing from summer to fall, winter to spring. Seasons change in so many ways. And sometimes in those changes, we get stuck and we struggle to make our cards. And the thing that we love and the thing that has always like brought us relaxation and joy maybe isn't right now. And so hopefully over these next 3 days, we're going to give you guys some tips, some card layouts. We're going to laugh, especially when we have tech trouble. And we're just going to hopefully let you kick back and restart your creative juices. So, I'm Holly, and I'm located in central Iowa, and I'm here with,
Karen Titus, and I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Richfield, Minnesota.
yeah, which I think a lot of people probably consider Minneapolis
Yeah.
because it's kind of right in the heart of the city.
Yep.
So we have collectively been crafting like 40 years, I think, right? 30 years, something like that. Um,
Yes.
a lot.
Mhm.
And so we're just going to tell you a little bit about our crafting stories, and then we want to hear your crafting stories. So we're gonna issue some challenges throughout these 3 days, and you can enter to win prizes. So be sure that you're in the comments, whether the comments are here or on Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook, replying to the emails that you're getting will also get you in the drawing for those prizes. So we want to hear your crafting stories and why do you craft? So be sure to let us know in whatever format you want to tell us. So, Karen, why don't we start with you? Why do you craft and how'd you get started?
Okay, I got started back in 1996, and I just wanted to say working with Holly has been really fun. This is going to be kind of as close as you can get to a mother-daughter team without really being that, but she's the age of our kids. Her parents are good friends. That's how we know Holly. It's just a very fun. So it's kind of very fun to be doing this together. So I'm really grateful that she came into my life. Back in 1996, I started teaching classes like this was all new to me, but it just seemed so fun. I was homeschooling and I was teaching crafts. I did kind of a Friday afternoon thing with all the middle school girls, just a fun thing. It was kind of our last Friday of the month. And this looked fun. So I started teaching from there and kind of went on to there. And it actually became my full-time business and then moved online. Tim works with me. It was like a family business. And it's just brought so many blessings into my life and this community, both starting in person and then moving online, all of it. And when we travel and meet people, it's about the community and reading all the comments. I'm not always the best about getting responses back, but I sit and read everything and it is so touching. And I read many of them to Tim aloud. And the community, how we encourage each other, and how creativity is one way we can express ourselves and show our care. So it's like having something in common, but while we have that in common, we also care about all of life and chatting and supporting each other.
Yep, absolutely. Well, for me, I the first time I ever paper crafted was 2005. I did a scrapbook because I had taken a trip to Honduras to meet a sponsor child, and so I really wanted to record that, and so I scrapbooked it, and I got so overwhelmed, I gave it all up. And so then fast forward a little over a decade later, somebody sent me a handmade card. And this was really what started it for me. When I scrapbooked, I never once recall seeing a handmade card. I knew people who scrapbooked. It was really popular at the time where I lived, but I didn't know people made cards. So fast forward, and somebody sent me a card when I was going through cancer, and it was handmade. And they'd put their little name and, stuff on the back of it. And I was like, wow, you can make your own cards? And I could tell it was the same supplies that I used for scrapbooking. So when I was looking for a hobby, I thought, well, I could try that. I still had my scrapbook supplies because, well, we're crafters. Once you get the paper and pretty stuff, you don't want to give it up, right? So I pulled it out and I started experimenting with making cards. And a few months after that, I was introduced to Stampin' Up. My mom and knew Karen and knew that what she did, and so I learned about Stampin' Up. And I guess they say the rest is history. That was 2016 when I started card making. And what a wild ride. It is amazing how quickly you can become obsessed with paper crafting and collecting all the things. All the pretty paper, oh, wrong finger. All the pretty paper. Like how can we resist it? Right? And so one of the things we're going to do this week is just teach you how to use all of that pretty stuff that you have. And it doesn't matter what company you bought it from. We just want you to use your pretty stuff. So that's what we're going to kind of walk through this week. So, and now I live in central Iowa with my husband, and my dad just recently moved in with us. He has dementia. And so starting the ride of caregiving and lots of doctor's appointments. And I've had some lovely conversations with people in our All Good Cards Club. That community has been so encouraging to me as I learn how to be a caregiver and how do you transition sometimes from feeling like a daughter to feeling like the parent. So this crafting community has been so helpful. And I start there because, and I'm trying to multitask and share my screen at the same time, because as we talk about creativity and why in the world does it matter and why would we want to be more creative, the first thing that we like to say is that it boosts our well-being and happiness. And I have seen this as caregiving is so much harder than I ever thought. Maybe, when you're watching a loved one and it's my dad is not always my dad, if that makes sense. Being able to have this space where I can be creative and an outlet for that and connection. Oh, the community, the other people, I think is the biggest boost for me in learning to be creative from you guys, learning new ways of mixing colors and doing different layouts and techniques. It has really been a huge boost for me in the changing season of my life. So what about you, Karen?
Well, I was just thinking, someone in this group had said to what she said, my husband's so sweet. He'll just tell me sometimes if I'm getting a little crabby. He says, honey, I think you need to go spend some time in your craft room. And I thought, but kudos to him because I'm just feeling that. Sometimes we need that. I always like to say it's like being 5 and getting a new box of Crayola crayons and just playing. And it's just a time that we can space out and design and color and let the world, time can just hold still. We can just enjoy that process. We can also, at the same point, be thinking about who we are creating for. There are just so many gifts and blessings in this. And so I just was going to add here too, for those of you who don't know me, I just want to fill you in on my life right now too. We have a, excuse me, a 2-month-old granddaughter, Emerson, who is in Boston, Mass General with neuroblastoma, childhood cancer. And so we are going back and forth between Boston. They're actually now at the Ronald McDonald House. And I just have it's just such a treasure because I know many crafters help work at the Ronald McDonald houses. And it was really fun to go down and see that they had crafting and things for for people that had little older kids. But it was just very heartwarming. But our kids don't live there. So this is just really an out of world experience and treatment is going to be long and slow. So during this time, I have loved this community. I've loved what I've felt. I love seeing the creativity. When I receive cards, it's both the thoughtful that we get. We also have a great time talking about the creative things people have done with their cards. It's that something we can all appreciate that's that moment in time and that we can share with the kids. And one of the things I was thinking about too is how many of you I've talked with that have gone through kind of a dry season, or maybe you are recovering from surgery and you just can't yet stamp, but you still love being in the community. You still love the conversations. You love seeing what people are doing and thinking about it. You know, you aren't ready yet. And I'm just going to share very honestly, that's how I feel right now. I'm really enjoying my creativity, doesn't feel there right now, but I still love the community. I love looking at things. I love thinking about cards and thinking about what I could do. There's that thing you can do even from a bit of a distance that I think is such a healing thing that we have to offer ourselves and to others. So I've just felt, and I had mentioned even sitting in the hospital, starting to think the very first days, I wasn't even thinking about cards, and all of a sudden I'm designing what do I want a thank you card to look like? Because I'm thinking about all the people that are caring for us. And I thought, and then it's like, what do I want it to say? What do I want? And somehow we just have this avenue of creativity that's also design comfort, but it's also so people oriented that I just think is such a, it keeps us connected. So, and now during this time, I also love that I can go back and forth a little more, that I'm working with Holly. That is just a great gift for me and other people in the group that participate. We want this to be a community of leaders. We don't want this to be everything we do, like right now, this isn't the Holly and Karen show. This is really about us wanting community, wanting to involve everyone and to hear your stories and to learn from each other and to feel connected, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, she's talking about the second point, right here where we just want to get connected. We want to connect with other crafters and connect through story. And I'm seeing you guys, if you're not in the chat, make sure you pull up the chat to read some of the stories that are happening right now in that chat. But we were just recently on a Craft and Connect Zoom, which is something that we do regularly, where we just sit around and craft through Zoom, and we're just chatting. And somebody was sharing about these little treat things they were making for their church for an event that they're having, and so the women who are going to get impacted through those treat things, and the cards that have made a difference in Karen and Tim's life and for their son as they're encouraged by the community coming around them. And I mean, my life was completely changed because somebody sent me a handmade card, and I don't even know who it was. I'm sure I never thanked them for that card because I was in the midst of a terrible season, with health issues.
Can
Um,
I can I
and
add in there how important? I love that she's saying that. She doesn't even remember who sent it. We don't know where our cards go. And I know that postage and everything gets more expensive now, but I also think if 1 in 20 cards that I send out hit that right person at that right time, oh my goodness, it was worth all of it. Because
yep.
it's like in anything, we don't always see the end result. So I just think that is a really powerful part of Holly's story.
Yeah. And I don't know if that person knows the end result because I don't know who they are. They've never stepped forward to say, "Oh, I sent you a card," during that season. But that unknown card, that unknown person has completely changed my life. And in a way, as Karen and I pay this forward to you guys and bringing this community, they are also changing more lives without even realizing it. So the power of a card is honestly, it's priceless. I know that there's conversations about the cost of a stamp, but it's honestly priceless when you think about the impact it could have when it goes to the person you're sending it to. So I love seeing Deb just said she sends 15 to 20 cards a month. And that's just a beautiful gift to the people on the other end, even if they never tell you thank you or acknowledge that they got your card. We can boost other people's lives and moods and all of that when we send a card to them. So it's not just about us. And I don't mean us in terms of Karen and I. It's not about you as the card maker. It's about what you can also bring to other people's lives by sending a piece of paper folded in half. Like, who knew?
I want to say
So,
one more thing. This Sunday for our children's sermon at church, um, the woman was showing the kids a framed letter that she had written to her grandmother when she was 8, and her grandmother saved it and framed it. But talking about letter writing and saying something and asking the kids, how often they send cards or letters and all that. And, we don't nowadays. But it was a very, very touching sermon. And she suggested that they, or children's, whatever, she suggested they go home and write a letter to someone. And I thought, I was just really touched by that because I thought that's also what we do. It's also what we get a chance to teach young kids to do. That's another part about what I love, what I do. We have an impact on younger people by what we can teach them and the things that we can share with them and us sending letters to them. And anyway, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how easily Karen gives us a segue into the next point.
And this was not
It's
planned because I have no
fantastic.
idea. I have no. But I'm just showing up. That's what I'm good. That's what I can do these days.
Well, I mean, I think what you just talked about was the growth and discovery that we like to talk about with creativity, of any age, you know. So when you're crafting with kids or you're crafting with, any age, I don't even want to make up an age, 100-year-old, we can still grow and discover new things through creativity. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times that we're in these crafting Zooms getting, just getting to know each other. And I see something someone has made and it's like, oh, wait, you can do that? Like that's possible with paper. Because of course we focus on paper here, but there's so many different, mediums that you can do for your
But
craft.
that also shows we're all forever students. We can never know it all in this. Creativity is that ever expanding. We'll never know it all. Isn't that a
Yep.
wonderful thought? We can always learn from each other. And it doesn't matter if you're brand new or if you've been doing this forever. You have something to give and something to receive.
Yeah.
It is the going back and forth.
Yep. So for those of you here, whether you've been crafting, let us know in the comments, how long have you been crafting? Because whether it's been 2 weeks or it has been 50 years, there's still more for us to learn. Karen just said she's been doing this for 30 years, well, 29. But 30 years of crafting and she's still learning new things and discovering new ways of doing stuff. And so there's just, oh yeah, Michelle says she has no idea how long she's been crafting. And Deb, 50 years. I hit the number, 50 years for somebody. So, but even if you started last week, we're all in the same boat because we're all still learning and growing together, which I think is really cool. And so one of the things that I think happens when we're trying to, make cards and figure this, oh, actually, I'm going to segue differently because I forgot about our first challenge. Um, so I told you we're going to issue challenges so that you guys can win prizes and so that we can learn more about each other. So our first challenge is asking you the question, why do you want to be more creative? What is it about creativity that maybe draws you in? And tell us your why. And what we're going to ask you to do is to share your why on social media. So this means Facebook, Instagram. If you're not on Facebook or Instagram, that's totally fine. Just email us back with your why. But if you go to Facebook and you just start a post on your page and you just say, this is why I create. And put the hashtag in there, Creative Cards Kickstart. That way we'll be able to see that you created a post. And we'll pick, I don't know, maybe 10 people, and we'll send you guys some happy mail, real live mail. We've got some prizes for you that will be coming out after Kickstart. So that is our first creative challenge. But what I wanted to say with cards, and we talked about whether you're a 2-week-old crafter or a 50-year-old crafter, sometimes what gets us stuck is we don't know how to get started. So we're sitting there surrounded by all these supplies and we don't know what to make. And we don't know how do you cut that first piece of paper? Because it's so pretty and we don't want to mess it up. So how do we find an idea? And we go to Pinterest and we get lost for 4 hours scrolling ideas. So how can we make it simpler? How can we get out of the stuckness and get crafting? And so Karen has a way that has been so helpful in how we get started. So Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
And I'm taking us way, way back, way before we had card templates, because now I know you're all familiar with card templates. You see one, and then you all work from that. Way before that, way before we had the internet and all this, and we used to, whenever we would gather, as demonstrators and in person anywhere with crafters, we would share ideas. And this idea came back from those days with Linda Heller, who's one of my teammates, and she just hit her million in sales this year, which is really awesome, where the rubber hits the road. I still use this idea to this day. And we love to start Kickstart with this idea because every time it's a new card, it's different results. And it's a reminder old ideas are still wonderful. We are all just recreating again. So I just think this is a very fun way. So I just look through my cards and I'm looking for anything that hits my eye that I can notice there's a few things to change. But really, it could be absolutely anything. So we're going to choose a card, change three things, make it our own. It's going to break the routine. Okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to read that or not, but I'm going to show you the card that I picked as my starter card. So this is the card that
Okay,
started.
hold on just a second, Karen. Let me get
And
you
we,
on the big screen.
oh yeah, and we
Okay,
have
there
some
you go.
questions about the screen if maybe people figure that out. This is the
Well,
card.
okay, I'll just say real quick on Zoom, if you're having trouble, there's the little view place. Make sure that I think you want to be on gallery, if I'm not mistaken, but just play around with the different views so that you'll see Karen and I on the same screen. So go ahead.
So this is the card that started it all, and I'm giving credit to this card for Stephanie Flath. Stephanie, I think I'm 99.9% sure it's lost its name, but your name is in my mind. So you're getting credit on this card. And I just thought there are several things on here that I just loved because I thought they give me ideas to work with. It's a little out of the box thinking. I love these balloons on the side. I think that fun. And then just this square over here and a couple of details. So I thought this is where we're going to start with. So if I pull this out, now I think this could be done even randomly. I could pick a random card and then look at it and think, okay, what am I going to change today? So, but this is our card we're all starting with today. So we put measurements on the thing, but now we're going to talk about, because the measurements don't matter. This is the idea of how we're going to be inspired. What are some things I could change with this card?
So let us know in the chat, what types of things would you change?
And maybe in looking at that, you already have an idea of what you might want to use. Then I'm going to show you two ways I've changed it. Holly's going to show two ways she's changed it. And then, okay, the color, the orientation, could go that, make it a Christmas card. Oh, that's a really good idea. Change the DSP, the pattern paper, the background color, the stamp set, emboss on it, make it a fun fold, turn it into a fun fold. Yes. Focal point, change the focal point. Can you show what we put on Facebook?
Yep, we'll go back to
Oh, okay, okay.
minutes.
Add more layers. And that's one I easy for you. You can always add more layers to change the card. Now, use a big sentiment, change the sentiment size. Yes. Stagger the layers. Do you guys realize add more cutouts? There's no reason to just have the one or two. Add the wobble for the animal. Oh, that's fun. Add ribbon. Uh, Change the orientation of the squares, make those different. So to see how we're on a roll. So sometimes I think I love the idea of actually looking at a real thing and then thinking, okay, it gives me some ideas right there of what I can change. Because there might be something about this that just grabbed me. I might look at this card and think, oh, I have the perfect little critter or the perfect flower that I would love on that array. It might remind you of something and then you're off and running, or it might remind you of something else, So could do the square and put it so yes, it's a crosswise. So we are hoping to see tons of different ideas. So we can't wait to see what you do and then you'll describe what you do. But so I'll go ahead and show what I changed it to. Here's the first card I changed. And you're going to notice I used the designer series paper. I still use designer series paper. I changed the orientation of the card. I stamped right on the paper, which I think is a really cool look. I still kept this. I really love this idea because I thought, I don't tend to do this with cards. So I wanted to make sure this was in my mind. And you'll see I did the bottom half of the card, stamp like that. And I thought that just gives a really nice background. And then because my words are in the middle, I did two floral accents instead. Oh, and I added one more layer. Does that, okay? And now I'm gonna have you tell me what did I change about this one? And I love this card. I love these little guys. When you first look at these, I wouldn't look at these two and think, oh, they're the same design. That's what's cool about this, because this design came from this. And I think that's what's really exciting when we're looking at what we can change, because we're automatically looking at, ooh, let's change. So I could keep the square. I could also do something else. So I did that pattern, the batter, and instead of, so yes, I did it, no, I did it this way. I don't even know. I did paper down here instead of this. I did my banner and I changed the orientation. But I just think it's so fun to think that all these cards just still come from this idea. Okay, is that making sense? So Holly can show what she did. I'll leave this up just see the original if you make yourself
Yeah,
big.
so when
Big.
I saw the card, I saw kind of two components. I saw the square and the stamping. So kind of a card, not quite divided in half, but close to it. And so what I did was I took two different sections. So I've got my DSP on top and embossing on the bottom. And then I changed it. So instead of stamping on a card base, I embossed a piece for my base. And then I changed it to a circle. So I still have the two sections of my card. So if I go sideways like Karen's, you can see how there's two different sections to my card, and then adding my no sentiment, my accent to the middle.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and then the other one I did was having these pieces, same thing. So splitting my card in half and adding my accent to it. And so putting it horizontal and then having the tag in the middle. So so just a
Hey,
different way when you view it. So my view was, oh, a card kind of split in half. And
mhm.
so it worked that way.
One of the reasons I think this works as a framework, we're not stuck on the size and shapes. Because if we're looking automatically, if we're starting to look at what we can change, it's not like we're trying to follow a template. So everything has their uses. But this is kind of fun because here I'm looking at, oh, I could use a square, but I could use something else. You're automatically, because your mind is thinking, what am I going to change? And I love that idea instead of am I going to insert. So it's just kind of a different way of looking at things and becoming creative. So comments, and now we just can't wait to see. And then when we start seeing what you guys do, it's like, how did I not think of that? How did I not? It's like, but it kind of opens up this whole thing, and we end up with all kinds of ideas that look like they'd have no relation. And yet we all started with the same little focal point, which is to me kind of the value of community. We're kind of starting with that one idea together, and then we're just branching out and all learning from each other. And like Holly said before, we don't care what you use, you use whatever you have. This isn't about anything. This is about using up our supplies and having fun and trying out new things. Things don't have to turn out either. You can show us your mistakes if you're brave.
There's no bad cards. No bad
That's
cards.
right.
Just
And
attempts at creativity.
with most cards, you can always just add another layer. If it doesn't get too thick to mail, you're just fine.
Yeah. So that's our second challenge for you today is to share your card and let us know what you changed. So you can post the card in the Creative Cards Kickstart Facebook group. And if you're not on Facebook, that's totally fine. Just reply to the emails that we're sending you with your card and let us know what you changed, and that'll still enter you into the drawing. So yes, as Dana just said, have the courage to be bad at something new. So we all start somewhere, and there's no bad cards. So I always think it would be really funny if people started deconstructing my cards, because you'd see all the stamping mistakes on the back and the places that I cut stuff out. And the end result looks great, but all of the paper that filled my trash can in the meantime. So, yes, creative opportunities, as Martha said. So, just a chance to try something different. So, and it might not be your cup of tea, and that's totally fine, but you tried, and I think that's a huge thing.
Mhm.
So,
And part of that is saying, this just might inspire you to think, "Ooh, I love looking at cards this way, and I will do this more often." Others might think, "Well, one time tried that was fine." It is all about being creative and finding whatever sparks, the fun in us. But this is also a fun idea. I'm just thinking, if you craft with grandkids or friends, this is another fun idea. If you're just doing it for fun, bring something out and then just have people create. When my 11-year-old granddaughter was here and her friend, they picked a card that they wanted to make. And it was just so fun watching them measure, figure out what they were going to doing, and just play. That's what we're doing. We're playing. And they weren't concerned if things didn't turn out like the thing. They were just busy in the process of enjoying figuring this out. And we all need to do that.
yeah. And you might make a card and get to the end and you say, I don't even like this card. Well, that's okay. Just send it to somebody. It doesn't matter, because they might love it. That's
Honestly, if you're lucky enough to have a grandma, send it to grandma because all of us
there
grandmas
you
know,
go. Yes.
oh, we love anything we get from grandkids, or they don't be grandkids either, but kids, we love
Yes.
anything we get. We just will
Yep.
appreciate it. So send it to a
Exactly.
grandma.
There you go. That would totally work. So, Um, all right. Well, those are the two challenges that we've given you today. So let us know your why. Why do you get creative? Or why do you want to get more creative if you're currently feeling a little stuck in that? And then second is our card makeover and show us what you've made. So two different challenges, and we're going to pick a whole lot of winners from both of those challenges. And there'll be more to come in the next couple of days. So we'll be live again at 10 a.m. Wednesday and Thursday Central Time. So if you're not sure what that means to you, just go into Google and it'll translate what Central Time is to where you are located. But the link
What,
will always be in the Facebook and then also emailed to you.
what's
Uh,
happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we are going to do mystery stamping. So we are posting supplies for you, and we're all going to start with the same pieces, but we are going to end up in very different places. So you're going to craft along with me. So have your pieces ready to go. And I don't know if the post is up quite yet, but it will be up this afternoon. And if you registered, you'll get it via email so that you can have those supplies ready, and craft with me. So. Um, if you did not get an email from us, that might mean you didn't register. So make sure you go to the Facebook group, and register. There's a link right at the top of the group, and you can register, and that's how you get emails from us, because otherwise we don't have your email address. So just take a look in there, fill that out. And if you still didn't get it, shoot me a message, and we'll make sure that we get those emails out to you. So thank you guys for joining us. This
And
has been
then
a lot of
Thursday, we'll
fun.
create something else together. So for the
Yep.
next 2 days, it's all right here.
We'll give you
Thanks.
a little sneak peek tomorrow of what we're doing on Thursday. So,
So,
all right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, go be creative.
bye.